Hi everyone, this is Nikolai Naylor, Naylor Accountancy Services. Um, this is our 2024 start of our webinar business program. Just looking to help business owners on what's available out there, knowledge-wise, and how we can help as well in any ways that we potentially can at Naylor Accountancy Services. So this is the 3 essentials tool to business. There will be a program of this of the different webinars that we're doing. So I'll just take you through that schedule. The 3 essential tools, that's the one that we're doing now. We did do one in December as well, which was knowing your numbers, and we're going to do a building a better business in February. Then getting paid, which is all about getting paid quicker, like your debtors, making sure people are paying on time. Boost your business wealth in April. Reclaiming your time, which time is a big factor in any business owner. I know for myself, I know for everybody, the biggest issue everyone has is they don't have enough time to do what they want to do, whatever that may be. Then we're reclaiming hats, 10 hats in every business. There will be more, so that's only till June, so there'll be more of these going forward. So just if you've got any questions or if there's any topics that you might want to do as well, just let us know as well. Thought for the day, I love The Rock. Honestly, he's a very big icon, but he's also an amazing guy. But his insights are quite interesting. So this is thought of the day. Success isn't overnight. It's when every day you get a little better than the day before, and it all adds up. So Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he's always about hard work and making sure that you go forward each step at a time. In my book, The Firm You Want, that I sort of have a few other quotes. I think just one probably quote of his in there. There is no magic bullet in business success, and I'm sure as a business owner, you guys will know that it's hard work, and you've got to just keep going, and it's persistent, and it's rewarding to see improvements as you adopting things. And like the 3 essential tools for business, that's a way of looking at everything in a certain way so that you can actually ensure your business goes forward. My big passion, that's why I've written a book as well. That's mainly for accountants. I'm going to be writing another one for businesses on how to get the business that you want. But my big passion is for small business owners to actually get more from the business, not that they're working in the business but on their business, and also they're getting paid. So you have a lot of entrepreneurial poverty whereby, and we see it with certain in certain of my books, where the actual business owner isn't getting paid as much as the actual team members that they've got. So it's all about that. That's one reason why we've got all this webinar program, just to sort of help business owners look at things in a different way to help them grow their businesses and become more profitable, also be able to look at things that are interesting to them, to which is time, financial, and mind, we call it. So time, having more time to do what they want, to focus on added value work or with their family, friends, or going on holiday. Financial, earning more for themselves than they potentially are now, and mind, so they're not worried about things, because people worry about things. That's one reason why we, as Naylor Accountancy Services, any accountancy firm, is around, because people worry about their taxes, getting paid and getting reported on time to HMRC and Companies House, and not getting fined. So that's the big reason for being here in the first place. But we want to be helping more than just on that going forward. In any way, shape, and form, we can help you. So just have a quick think where your business is now, or when you first started and everything. What was your vision? What was it that your dream of that business? And then do this in your head, but think about where you are from 0 to 10 in that journey, how you feel that you are now compared to when you started the business. I know when I started Naylor Accountancy Service, I thought it was going to grow massively very quickly and all this, that, and the other. I was so optimistic. I am still optimistic, but but it takes longer. It takes a lot longer to grow than I believed it would. And I know other business owners are the same as well. And the big thing is that you are probably the biggest expert and the hardest working person in your business, because the business owners, that's what tends to happen. So the agenda for the day. So there are 5 different points that we're going to go for here, and is what I'd say is within this, please write, have a little pen or paper next to you, write actions down or thoughts that you get from this, because the biggest thing from these is we want people to get ideas and take action, and if we can help you in any way, we will as well. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the power of 1%. And that is very powerful, and you'll see it when you look at the form, when we show you the formula. Having the courage to change, that's a big thing, and we'll show you the change formula, which is quite intuitive, but it's also very interesting because you can understand why things are happening a certain way in most business. The 3 essential tools, we'll go through those. Examples of the tools in action. So I'll give you some examples of everything there, and then we'll just talk about the next steps. And then there'll be questions at the end. So if you've got any questions, you can put them in the Q&A now. I will wait until the end, if that's okay, to answer them, but do put them in. And if you don't want to go in the Q&A, you can go directly to me anyway. So the power of 1%. Now, this is amazing, because when you do the compounding of 1%, it is a very big change. So I'm just going straight away for what Einstein says. Compounding is the greatest mathematical discovery of all time. If you improve things by 1% every single day for 365 days for a year, that's the formula there, 1.01 to the power of 365. That you would be 37.8 times better at the end of the year. So if you had a sales, say, and today you had one sale, you'd have 37.8 times sales at the end of the year if you were just increasing it by 1% every time. And it's basically, put it another way, that you basically double the sales within 70 days. So that's improving 1%. Nothing's linear, but it just shows you the compounding of 1% is massively, if you do it once a day, once a week, or whatever it is you're looking at. But if you're constantly looking for improvement in anything, that's what you're doing, you're compounding. However, if you look at the regression, so that's going down 1% a day. So this is the formula for that, 0.99 to the power of 365. At the end of the year, if you have 1 sale, you'd have 0.03 sales. So if you had 100 sales, you'd have 3 at the end of the year. Just very simple maths, just on that. But what that shows you is, if you are staying still and not doing anything, you will eventually keep going down, because you're not improving. Things go down gradually. Nothing's linear, but it will go down. So things will get worse and worse. And you see that when people coming to retire or getting near retirement in their business, they're not as worried about things. So their business tends to go down a little bit, which is understandable, because they're taking their foot off the pedal. Whereas if you are looking at improving all the time, it will be going up. The good thing, you can look at this on the regression and improving, is that if you want to improve your sales, this is very simple, but on sales, you're going up. And if you regress, so you're looking to lower your costs, it goes down. Obviously, then you'd be going up more. The big thing here is, well, in Naylor Accountancy Services, we have something called Project Perfect. So we're constantly looking at improving things all the time. And that's this 1%. So we're always looking at improving. It's not going to be linear, but we're always looking at processes, anything that goes wrong, anything that we think we can do better, and make sure it doesn't happen again. So we're always looking at that. Every week we're looking at different things that are happening. We have the whole team letting us know any issues that they have on payroll, VAT, anything, bookkeeping, with communications with you guys, the clients, and then we look at how we can improve that. So that's the 1% improvement. So we're constantly looking at improving, rather than just being happy where we are. We're just constantly looking at that. And that's what any business owner, is really good for you guys to do. Look at improving things like your sales processes, everything like that, because the 1% works. The big thing with the 1%, guys, is what Stephen Bartlett, I don't know if I mentioned it right now, but Stephen Bartlett, he's Darrow CEO. He's got a podcast and a YouTube channel, and he always talks about the power of 1%, 1% improvement of everything every day. Change. So I don't know if any of you know who John Maxwell is, but he's an amazing author and speaker on leadership. So he's a massive leadership influence. He's written over, I think, 100, 200 books. He's written so many books. But he says change is inevitable, growth is optional. So change isn't easy, guys, and we all know that. Just think about other businesses that haven't adapted or changed, and this is quite an interesting one. So here, Kodak. Who remembers Kodak? Some of you might be too young for Kodak, but Kodak, they had film, so they were the biggest. They used silver the most, and that was for in the whole world. Supposedly, they were based in Buffalo, New York State, and they had the most silver in the production of their film process, basically. So they were massive in that. In 1976, they had the 85% of the market share of film, and also they did cameras, but they failed to adopt a change. And by 2003, their market share diminished to 15%. And now they're literally just a brand. They do still have the Kodak brand, and they do have a few things, but it's all taken over by digital camera. These guys, and we all have one now. So before it was on your phone, they were digital cameras, and they took over. Now Kodak invented digital cameras, but they were so scared of it impacting and sort of eating up their film business, their normal business, that they didn't run with it. So they're actually now a relic. They did actually start a smartphone supposedly in 2017, but I don't think anything really happened of that. But it is just an example of how disruptors can come in, and if you don't move with the change. Another one, MySpace. Now, I do remember MySpace because all my friends at university were wanting me to get on MySpace. Now, MySpace, that was like the forerunner of Facebook. So you put all your friends in there, but it was just your friendship group that you communicate with in this group. And it was the largest sort of the first and the largest sort of social networking platform in the world, MySpace. And then until Facebook sort of overtook it in 2008. And now, and you've got Twitter as well and Instagram, but now, you've got over, MySpace in 2015, it did have 50 million monthly users, but that sort of compares to Facebook, which is 2.3 billion. It's probably more now, and Twitter, even 300 odd million users a month as well. So they adapted, they changed, but MySpace didn't. So, but I think it is still around, but very few people use it now. Blockbuster's another one. I used to love going to Blockbusters every weekend. We used to go there, get the movie, that whatever it was that we could get, because you couldn't always get the ones that you wanted, and then watch it. They had 9,000 stores worldwide, and that was worldwide. Now there's one left, and there's only one. They filed for bankruptcy back in. Oh, sorry, I've gone back, but they filed for bankruptcy ages ago. When was it? 2010. They filed for bankruptcy. But with this, Netflix came in and took the whole thing off. Netflix started just by sending out DVDs by post, and they actually came to Blockbusters and asked them if they wanted to take over, merge and stuff, and then they would actually sort out their online Blockbusters, but they said no. They basically got laughed out of the room. And in 2004, Blockbusters finally set up their own sort of DVD rental, but it was all too late. So now Netflix has over, it has, I think it's 240 million users now. So it's got so many users in comparison to what it did, what Blockbusters ever had. And Netflix is going from strength to strength. Well, the last remaining one was it's the last remaining. It's in Oregon, and it's some place called Bend, and it's almost like a museum. I've seen it sort of online, and I think it was 2019. It was the very last one in the whole of the world, so which is amazing. So having the courage to change this formula is, I think it's amazing because it's very good here. So you'll find out what these all mean, but you got, if D times V plus F is greater than R, then you will change. Then people change. But if it's not greater than R or even equal to R, people and things, people do not change because people don't like change. R is resistant to change. So if the resistance to change is smaller than the previous formula, then people won't change. But if it's bigger, then they will change. Oh, so, sorry. If the resistance is less than the formula on the left, then people will change. So D is dissatisfaction with the status quo. So if you're not happy with where you are, then that goes into here. But if that dissatisfaction is still less than your resistance to change, or anyone's resistance to change, you won't change. You'll just stay there until the dissatisfaction is bigger. Then vision of the future. So people have to have a vision of the future, what with that change, what that will give them. If it's not a good vision and it's not a vision that will take them to the next level, they will just stay where they are. Now I'll go through a story about this because we've just had a case of this with somebody who's come back to us after a long time, but it's because their vision's got better, but their dissatisfaction's gone down massively as well, or gone up, should I say, with this current status quo. And then F is the first step in the direction of the vision. So you need to be doing that first step, because you need to take it in order to achieve that vision. So, but just remember, so the consequences of inaction will heighten the dissatisfaction of the business and make it the business regress. And it's the fact that you sort of today, being here, you are open to change, so you are thinking that way. And the 3 essential tools, they're just going to show you the first steps that you would need to start moving towards your vision and a positive future state. So you do need that vision to be able to move yourself forward out of that dissatisfaction. So I'm just going to do a little example here. So we've had someone come to us who I spoke with nearly a decade ago now, about coming to Naylor Accountancy Services. Now, the issue that they have now is that their software system is being decommissioned, but very soon. So their dissatisfaction has gone up, skyrocketed. They want to be moving to Xero accountancy software, which we are experts in. We're also experts in QuickBooks, but Xero is what they wanted me to move to. And with that they know we can do it, but we've now got a short space of time. They've got a vision, the vision that they want to be on Xero. They've been speaking to other people, and that's what they believe is the best thing to be on for them. And then first step on that vision is contacting us. So we're going in there, having a look at it, see how we can develop things. There's other technology that they will need as well, because all of it's been decommissioned. Without it, they won't be able to function properly. And we're looking at, but that's the resistance to change has become less than the dissatisfaction and their vision, and they are taking that first step. They have no choice now. So basically that D has gone massively up. They could have changed 10 years ago, and then they wouldn't be in this position, and they're rushing everything now. But that's just how people are. People resistant to change is massively, is quite big. So do be aware of that. So this is just the 3 essential tools, just to give you a rundown of them. The first is the annual business plan. So we do want everyone to have a annual business plan, because that's very important there. And then we've got, just bear with me, why is it not moving on? Annual forecast, And then you've got ongoing reporting and accountability, which is very important. So what we're going to start by looking at is the components of that annual business plan. The first one is having a clear purpose. So you should be about 5 to 7 word statement and explain why your business exists and exists for your customers. And it's for your customers, because if you're not quite sure of that, then that needs to be the reason why you exist. Then the clear, articulate vision. So your vision, you must have a vision of what your business is going to look like in 5 years' time. We actually look at 10 years' time and then go backwards. So we have a larger vision. What 5 years is where you'd be looking at. What the owners want to achieve. So what is wanting to be achieved? Because you want your business to serve you, not you serve the business. Because what we see with most entrepreneurs, business owners, is unfortunately that they are the ones, the business is owning them. They having to do everything for that business. You know, you want to be having holidays and everything like that, and have an income that is good enough for you as well. High level budget. So you look at the high level budget that should be in the business plan, so you know where you're going, and that's in the what to achieve section. And relevant KPIs. So KPIs, they should always be relevant, and indicators of what is relevant. A maximum of 5 to measure them, basically. And opportunities and vulnerabilities. So this is sort of like the SWOT analysis. They're looking at what your vulnerabilities are, so what your threats and weaknesses are. You must know those, because without that, you don't know what you need to be looking out for, and then opportunities and your strengths as well. And you should be reviewing the goals and everything, but also be reviewing your business plan and goals on a sort of a 90-day period. So you have your goals and everything set on a 90-day rolling. So people have a 90-day sort of span of attention, and that's why we have the 90-day rolling. So there's always a 90-day rolling. So the rules for develop, these are basic rules to develop and update your business plan and follow during the business plan session. So we sort of do have business plan sessions that we follow. So all directors must be in there, and all the leaders and decision makers involved. That is key, because they need to be able to be part of that vision and creating that business plan for their input, but also for their buy-in. Each attendee completes a pre-work, so there is pre-work. So if we do the business plan with our clients, we'll be sending pre-work out so that gets to them. Use independent facilitator. If we're doing it, we will be that facilitator, but anyone can be that facilitator. But it's really important to have an independent one just to look over it and then keep you on track as well. Must be on one page. So have it on one page. That's how we do it. Some people have it on 2 pages, but have it at least, 1 page, 2 page absolute max, but you really just want it on 1 page, because then you can look at it easily all the time. And it may be double-sided, because then you can just take it with you. But you don't want a 30-page business plan. You're never going to look at it. No one's going to ever look at it. So you can have double-sided or anything, but don't ever go over that 2-1. So we recommend a 1-page business plan. Share it with the team and stakeholders. So make sure you share everything, so people do that, and then you can sort of see what's going on, and let people's buy in and understand what you're looking for. And that's what we do. We do share our vision, our business plan, and everything, what we're looking at doing. Report against monthly. So by reporting monthly against previous year and this year and things like that, it just means that you have you can see where you're going, and it gives you the goals and the 90-day goals, and up to 90 days and actions quarterly. And the full annual review. So you want to have a review of that business plan each year and update it. It has to happen, because it does change, and you want to see where you are, what you've done. Look at what you've done well in the year as well. So building a 1-page plan. So here's an example, just to sort of give you a clear example of what it is. So the business plan. So this is just an example, obviously, for this. So you have you have here what the so the high level here. So the purpose and the vision. So these are just all high level, which you want. You need to have the purpose. You want to have a purpose of your business and why you're doing it, and for you as well. And then the vision of what it is in 5 years time, what you want to be looking at doing 5 years time, and what you want to achieve. So, and the values as well. So these are the high level value ones. Then after that, you've got the budget. This is like the budget for the annual and each quarter. So this is basically for your KPIs that will be measured. So you have it for your annual, your quarterly. So you want to be seeing where you're going on the quarters, going it forward. And then see if you're going to be getting to that annual. So what it means is that you get you can then see how you are doing, what you might need to be doing throughout the year. So the 90 days changes to make sure you get close, if not exceed, your budget. And then you've got key performance indicators, and then looking at the client, your ideal client, and the value proposition. So this is sort of like the USP, so you unique selling point, your marketing thing, what your ideal client looks like, and how you are what you are going to give those customers and clients, to make sure that you are actually looking at everything in the right way, and you're focusing on what needs to be done, and who your ideal client is and what your offering is. So that is a plan there. So very simple. And then here you've got the opportunities, vulnerabilities, and the challenges. So you always need to understand those, because if you don't identify them, you don't know where your challenges and issues might happen within the year or in 5 years. And that was the 4-day, that's the full plan there. So building a 90-day action plan. So first, sort of determine the annual goals. So that's the big thing, because you start with that and then you can break it down into quarter, and then break each goal down into a quarter. So the 90-day goals, like I say, everybody has a 90-day window. So that's where you come in there. And you need to make sure that you have a responsibility for each person. So here, these are the KPIs. So be precise with what they need to be what need to be the different goals for each 90-day project. And then here, who and when. So you want to know when it's going to be done by and who. Only have one person in the who, even if they're going to be working with other people. So then one person is driving it. If you have more than one person, nothing gets done, because everybody says it's the other person that's doing it. So always make sure that's what's happening. You've got one person and you've got a date. So that's the 1 year goals, your 90-day goals, and your actions. So you have that all split out. So this is a one-page plan on two sides, basically. So that's the annual plan. The second tool is your annual forecast. Now, this gives you a roadmap of where the business is wanting to go. If you don't have a roadmap of where you want to go, which is one reason why you have the business plan, the one-page business plan, you have no idea what you should be doing. And it's like, basically, if I'm trying to get from here in Tunbridge Wells up to Leeds, if I have no idea where I'm going, I'm not going to get there. I need to know the routes. So I put it in sat nav now, but I used to be on the map. I know the motorways, but you'd just be making your way. So you want to develop higher level initially, but you've got, obviously, annual forecast. You've got profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow. There's three different ones that you can be doing, looking at your flows of cash and everything. So the components of an annual forecast: profit and loss, I've just mentioned; cash flow forecast, because the profit and loss is there just as a how efficient you are. Profit and cash flow, cash is always king. If you don't have the cash, you've got a potential issue paying team members, paying your suppliers, and then the balance sheet. Your balance sheet is a very good indicator of how solvent you are. So we have, how quickly you're getting in your debtors, and things like that. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail. So it includes tax payments, VAT, finances, loans, and assets purchased, and things like that. So profit and loss. This is just a profit and loss. So as its name sort of suggests, it just shows what's going on in profit and loss on each month. And it's, if you've, well, everybody should have Xero or QuickBooks, so that's cloud accounting. You can see this live, and it's really important as a business owner to see it live. I know lots of people have come to us and they didn't have it live. They had it on a desktop and it wasn't happening live, and now they're able to sort of manage their business better because it's all live in the cloud. Within your profit and loss forecast, you need to put in a seasonal fluctuation. So when you know that there's going to be less, so if it's December, there's going to be less. If you're a retailer, you'd have more in December sales, and probably have more costs, obviously, with probably having people in the store in your shop, so that would go up as well. And so you just break down the forecast, into monthly ones from what you're wanting for that annual. So if you've got a forecast that I want to get to this by the end of the year, break it down every month, what you want that budget to be, that forecast. And then you can be looking at them as KPIs to see how you're doing against it throughout the year. I just want to, one really thing, I have mentioned it already, but the big thing is profit and loss is not the same as cash flow. So some costs do not appear in the profit and loss, whereas they will be in the cash flow. So like your tax payments, so your VAT payment, that won't be in your P&L because that's without the VAT. Also your corporation tax, that would be outside of that as well. Loan repayments, so that's you paying out cash, that won't be in here. Interest payments would be, but not the loan repayment on it. Even sales, so if you might have sales in here that you've got coming in, but they may not have paid you, so you might have a big debtors, people that owe you money, so receivables. So that you might have a great P&L, but your cash flow is terrible because you're not very good at collecting the cash. So you do need to be looking at cash flow as well. So that's the second one of the forecast, the cash flow. So you can actually, so cash is oxygen to the business. So that's why you want to be looking at what's coming in and out each month. You have a forecast of it. So have VAT payment dates in there, corporation tax in there, any loan repayments that you know of. If you know what your debtor days are, then you'd be putting that in. We do have things that we can help you with to lower your debtor days. So we have things there, and looking at getting the cash in. Our next one is, well, one of them, I think it might be in March actually, is about getting your cash quicker. But that's on one of our webinars. The balance sheet, and that shows the overall value of the business, and if it's increasing or not, and it's sort of basically the net worth. And it shows if you're solvent or not. So credit rating agencies use this a lot because they want to know if they are solvent or not, and they'll give you a good credit rating. So high profitable companies can actually go broke. So the balance sheet is an early warning sign, and that tends to be, obviously the cash as well, but it gives you, you might have a huge increase in sales on the P&L, but you've got terrible debtors, and that would show up in the balance sheet. So rules of developing an annual plan. So do as much of it yourself as you can. So start with the desired profit and then work backwards to calculate sort of the sales of each and compare to last year's. We do pre-work, so we send out pre-work, which needs to be done if anyone is doing these with us, because if you don't do that, we can't move you along and create it. Start with the end in mind. I mean, that's a big Stephen Covey thing, and start with the end in mind. And so get the desired profit you want and then work backwards. There will be things you'll need to do to get to that as well, but that will then come out in your actions over the 90 days. And then work backwards. And that's what I was just saying. And then compared to last year's, always compared to last year's where you are, to make sure it's realistic and that you know that you're going to have to do things to get there if you need to, and review and adjust as needed. So you'll be doing that throughout the creating of the forecast, and you might be reforecasting slightly throughout the year as well, but you'd always have the same budget. Ongoing reporting, accountability. So this is the final essential tool of ongoing reporting and account is ongoing reporting and accountability. So you do need constant monitoring, and technology does provide that. So like I've said, if you've got Cloud Accountant, Zero, and QuickBooks, you will be able to do this on there. So real-time data is key. So you'll be wanting that. Make sure the bookkeeping's up to date. Obviously, we can help with that. You can do it yourself as well. Actual V forecast. You always want to be doing that on a monthly basis so you can see where you are, or quarterly. Progress towards KPIs. So making sure whatever your KPIs are, that you are progressing towards it. You can see that monthly and quarterly. Accountability. Now, the accountability helps you set aside time to work on your business and complete the actions. So you must set that business plan and then have somebody holding you accountable. You can look at doing it yourself, but what we found is people don't keep themselves accountable, and they will move off and they will stop looking at that business plan and stop moving towards it. It's a bit like the sat nav. You constantly got somebody telling you, no, go this way, or there's a roadblock, go that way. You make sure that this is happening. So clear documentation of actions as well, and consequence of inaction. Make sure you have a consequence of them. That's yourself as well. So having a coach with a backbone and a heart. So you'd be called out basically on we call it sort of a quarterly board meeting. So that's one way you can do that. So this is just an example of a P&L with the different, days to the forecast data and going against the different years as well. So you can sort of see it, you can see the changes, and then you'd be looking at why it's happened, why it's changed, and what you might need to do. So just keep everyone on track and make sure things are moving forward. And the balance sheet, again, this is like just an example of a balance sheet where people are. It is an early warning sign. Make sure you're solvent. Make sure there's not too many debtors. Make sure you've paid all your taxes. They're not just sitting on your balance sheet. Obviously, that would impact your cash flow as well. Dashboards are great because you look at the KPIs. So we create KPIs, just very easy visual, see where the business is going and what you're doing in line with forecasts, but also in general as well as a KPI. So we have covered that in record time, which is really good. So we'll have some time for questions as well. We'll just go over what we've covered today. The 1%. So looking at the 1% improvement all the time, that is a big thing, really big to do. And what we want to be doing. We've got what else have we got? Oopsie, I'm just lost it. Change essential for survival. So the change formula, you've seen that. You do want to be changing all the time and adapting. There are the three essential tools needed. It's like called a trifecta. Annual business plan, very important. If you don't have one, do create one. Just create one yourself. Have a look at our templates in here, and you can definitely just get one done. Annual forecast and ongoing reporting and accountability. So the annual forecast, that's P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. And take positive action. So always look to take positive action. Don't just do nothing, basically. So next steps, business plan. So we do business plan. It consists of a 4-hour session. So if anyone wants us to do a business plan with them and go through it, you would need to do pre-work as well. We can definitely do that and help you with that. If not, do it yourself. Please do one yourself, even if get one done, because it's very important to have one. A cash flow forecast. So we can prepare cash flow forecasts and incorporate P&L and balance sheet on the back of it, and that helps drive. I should have said it that we have actually. There was one client we've had. They had to make lots of redundancies and sort of lower their cost base massively because we could see sort of in 9 months' time they were going to have no cash left, and they've actually turned the whole business around. So everything was turned around, but they had to really do something very quickly because they were just hemorrhaging cash basically. Quarterly board meeting, that is to keep people accountable and also to fire off ideas with someone who's got a financial background. That's why we call ourselves your partner in finance, because everybody who works with NAS, Naylor Accountancy Services, obviously is an accountant and they've got a financial background, which most business owners don't have within their business. We do a complimentary 1 hour meeting, and if you want to do that, we can do that as well. Just to ask it, and we can discuss your goals and how we may be able to work together going forward. But we do that with clients and people who aren't with us yet, just to see if we can help them. So actions and projections. So if you have written anything down, which I hope you've done, that's a great start. So the biggest failure and problem is people, it's called FTI, so failure to implement. So you can write everything down, but you need to do something about it. So make sure actions it's taking, you need to take action if you need it. Business plan, every business should have a business plan. That's the ultimate of the first thing. A forecast is, is brilliant to have, and that's what people should have. But if you don't have that, at least have a business plan. That's the main thing that you should have. The 3 essential tools. So business plan is the number one. A problem is an opportunity to create a project. So always think of that, because you need to know what your problems are. Don't just ignore them, but make sure you can create a project. I would write down 3 actions from this and then remember, doing nothing is simply not an option. If that business plan, if you haven't got one, make sure you do it. And you can do it this weekend, but just get one done. Okay, now I'm going to stop and see if there's any questions. I'm going to just stop sharing. So any questions, anyone? I mean, just the main question is, why do I need a business plan? And I've gone through it, but the main reason for having a business plan is it gives you a vision. It gives you a roadmap to where you want to be going. It doesn't give you it as detailed as a forecast, but it gives you a way forward that you can see. With the change, that helps you in the V on the change. So it means that you have a vision and you know what steps to take. So then you can actually move things forward. So you do the change rather than just staying in the status quo. So the D is the dissatisfaction. So when you have a vision, you tend to be looking always at how I can move towards that. So you know that you're going to have to move away from where you are towards that vision and that business plan that you've got for the 5 years to get there. And then you break it down, obviously, into the 1 year and 90 days. Any other questions? I mean, how easy is it to do a forecast? Now, the forecast, we'd always start with the pre-work. So there'd be pre-work. We'd look backwards into it. There'd be you'd be building up the P&L and the balance sheet, and then in the back of that, you'd build up the cash flow forecast. And with that, then you have the 3 different parts of the forecast, which you then would monitor monthly, quarterly. And that's an important thing to have within the KPIs. There are non-financial KPIs as well. So within those goals, 90-day goals within your business plan and what you'll be doing for the year. So that's important there as well. Why is accountability important? Accountability is important because without it, people don't do things. So when you're at school, you had a teacher. If you didn't have that teacher, would you have done the homework? They are requesting you to do homework. if you didn't have a deadline by the teacher, would you do it? Would you progress? So within school, everybody's progressing every year within school. If you don't have that progression mapped out in the plan, so that's your business plan. So the school has a plan for you that whole year, and they don't set you homework, would you be progressing? Would you be moving? So our children, I mean, my children, and one's doing GCSEs and one's doing A-levels this year. So a bit stressful for them, I'm afraid. But with that, they have a goal. Their goal is to do the exam in well, they've got that's the accountability. They have to do that exam. They've got all these homeworks in between. They've got mocks at the moment, and they want to get a certain level. So that's their sort of goal is to get whatever it is, attain that grade. But without being accountable to their teachers, they wouldn't be moving forward. They wouldn't be pushed. And I was like that. I'm sure you were like that as well. So accountability is key. Find someone, you can even find a friend who's got a business as well, be accountable to each other. But you have that business plan, look at the forecast, and then be accountable. But even if you don't do the forecast, get the plan done and then be accountable to someone. We can be those people that you're accountable for in a board meeting, quarterly board meeting, monthly if you want as well. And we'll create that documentation for you. But do look at getting the business plan and getting someone accountable with you. Any other questions? Just seeing. Don't think there are. But what I'd say is have a look out for all of our webinars. They are here to help you. You don't have to work with us on any of these things. You can work with it outside. If you've got any questions, you can book a 1 hour complimentary meeting with us as well. So we can go through your goals and look at what you're doing and where we can help if you want, but you still don't have to work with us on those. But biggest sort of thing I can give you is do a business plan. Do that. If you haven't got that in your business, you really don't know where you're going. I didn't have one initially. I had it in my head, but by putting it down on paper, it actually happens. So if you just have it in your head and you think, oh, I don't need one on paper, write it down, because it doesn't take much to write down. And then just fill it out with the things I've mentioned. So just go back over this, look at the business plan, you can see what was done, and then just write it out, because that is critical. Any business should have a business plan. Without a business plan, you really don't know where you're going. And even by writing it down, it actually happens. If without writing it down and just having it in your head, nobody else can see it, and you've not actually articulated it properly. So my biggest tip is that business plan. Get it done. All right. Well, thank you very much. I hope to see you in future webinars, and have a happy day. Happy Wednesday. Bye-bye.